will be a Monday.
Lose 3 times.
Also, you will be a Monday to say leader. And this police leader will be our 7 to 10 year a year. And father.
Okay.
So you are taking from the prophets. Someone the Bawumia about 3 times. Over you shooting in 3 times. And yes, I'm a prophet is young time. But we are what say the man of young farm. Young farm man. They my cousin we are from last year, neighbor. Young farm man. So I say, and I will sound my book and I may show you, watching some food in Quasia Century, and Yoma and some fata. And you show it in a bedina or yen and Yoma. I always say they want to share on our book. But let me say your basically penny for MPP. I'll go to the lost altar.
Okay.
Name me the altar no so. Name me home. And you casa the breed. Never be so me one the baby. Opa within this week I'm about the trouble thing. So I will be flag bearer of MPP I be in the about the trouble thing. Hey, dear mama. I have power and young man deep when you put a more power. They are working towards MPP say vote no money they will divide it into 2.
So I want the heading.
I said and peniphobic cassette here in the deep when they too they are vowed. So no matter what becomes and they are moving ahead. What I said, but who can they say prophet is young we won't forget one more. What do you so free now forget one year and your man. That was last Tuesday, but any fair. So what I say, divided before, together with to iron some things.
Okay.
They are good party. Say a Jijana and Chelsea I say. Say a month live Bawumia on a Yabaka John Dramani Mahama, a bet pie 50-50. But everyone was say or yet I could afford a new sending young candle 5,000.
I know there's what you did that.
And yes, I did that. Do you never be in Pembo cow or my channel? Mamma, me what's it? Me kind of no quite back up. Okay. Or your back up at the whole Ghana. Now, never this will make me pop back 5,000. I could afford a new sending young cat. Or my name 5,000 and some of the 2. Every Matina Ghana City. So without that thing.
Nessa, which should I say? Kennedy bet me by my penny or Ghana. Oh,
a direct. A 70.
So Kennedy, dear, on to me, my president was because of Nisuni and buying the castle.
Well, since you be a bit fallacy. Okay. And the dear no they can say penny for MPP can do for no. Penny be seen in 24 Emma on our booking. Hey.
Nenche makumaku
24 on our booking to so. Oh, sir. Many on our booking in penny for no more US no. Maybe Kasa. Now, they catch almost say. I was saying move called powerhouse MMO. And yes, sir, they will show the man out. And then your fiscal terms the court to a balloon. Face of the Lord answer.
Nessa Kennedy no, sabe, yeah, brother, papa, facha me say me bo dimpam. Nessa Kennedy, Agyapong nankasa wanye sunsu mu niema na.
Yeah, but not just some limitation.
But just sunsu didi.
Yeah, papa, Wontumi. Or Bawumia they can say, I will let NBC remove them from the 8. They say Bawumia they can say that's yes the law. NBC to be removed from the 8 da. But the Bible can come or mine any mama radio. Say NBC to be removed from the 8 da. What cost about from the renewed power? And I said, when you go to the altar of the living God, and now okay. And your Bible the pejana, and now look MPP can never come to power. Take it from me. Okay. No power, no magician, no sorcerer. Ya kase tulia.
I mean, so there is no prayer without Kennedy. A compare.
They can never help. When you say 2020 is around the corner. Yeah. One more papa, he will lose power.
Yeah, the before France obey.
Do you know what's happened? Emmanuel Supporter. Who said Okodi will be nice money demand to do so? Yes. And you're suppressing the realms of the spirit. Take it from Prophet Isaiah.
What said you was so for now, Sabe, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia,
or the mantle good, and you're suppressing the realms of the spirit.
It's a yadao.
Who said, and you guys have been and you're suppressing. Your cassie, and you know, be at your press, you be at many mantle. It's
one doctor,
I'm one. Maybe who is saying, me, semi from here, or January.
Canessa was soon.
Oh, Who say again you may be at the Babeka. You a deep for Baku 7 types. Jeremiah 23 verse 25 to 32. There were 7 types of prophet. Obi obaba bonti na ba ka just ordinary tumi but asia no
na bibisa ho
of the spirit. Hey, pani pa.
Prophet Owusu Bempo.
Yeah, papa prophet Owusu Bempo ko join NDC.
Yo.
Awade.
Amo ye ne den. So no so eso.
Me dey hear say o ma tofuna da kama no. E no mo twa aponchi fita. E dey the picture. So do you sabi na o me ye mo shime. Me all the time we be an me da e altar no so nti me ye mo shime me say ayi.
What is so mame? We say fence our ba yen kwani ntie video a e koso na fe yen sambra biem.
NDC Mahama Babonte be ka kire yen nyina se o de mu minua Dr. Bawumia odi mochi o de di o machi eduru say leadership ba MPP for few they will never vote for you. And MPP delegates Enya Rejection said, no, we are not an account party. President who is a Muslim. We have a vice president who is an ordinary. We want to prove to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, say, we are not. And again, compliment Ashanti and other strongholds of the MPP. Mebwa, an MPP for their honkika, any day, any a kotu abanu boom. Even though there was an establishment support, and remember how, and our candidate didn't call 20 over 30 polling stations in the northern region. 0. Adubuahin, J. Kufuor, Utie, Adubuahin, J. Kufuor, Nana Dodanko Kufuor. None of these candidates are moving free north. Enya 0. Sir, him, you have a Muslim candidate, Mebwa. But yet, our candidate now, or see, your man a second chance. No? He got 0 in over 30 polling stations.
And not just saying.
Polling stations are one northern region, no? 3 northern regions, no? 30. Unya 0.
Until 0 no nya no
HSS. Na me ubebuza me ko buza no e
kyerese de benti na osusu se because say mo na munya asa gidie no say meba o ka ho ya munya gidie se ayete sa na me busa se tafi ona mo anya no kyerese mo se den.
Well, you go and ask the party delegates.
O ka ho kyerese mo se den.
Go and ask the party delegates.
We are delegate
me ba so enya ne first na bra o ye and so be set up a Zongo community because we thought we have that kind of MPP and PSM Zongo for PSM ntida no say dey you push an agenda of Zongo community development, having oversight responsibility as a running mate and a leader. What na say I running mate for 8 years. I was a vice president. You say this time the Zongo hold you be fan fala. In fact, on one club regional can say the Dr. Bawumia was so happy because me and me in particular, God is my witness. The only argument I was always making is that once we have a candidate who's from the north, a candidate for the first time who's a Muslim, we will sweep.
And on that TV, no.
The north, the Muslim votes and the Zongo votes. Now check the statistics. Apart from Winiba Zongo, you lose all the Zongos in the country. I'm saying you have an electric magnetic strategy. And it's my honor, Nyame, Edi Yehuafufi. We lost all the Zongos apart from Winiba Zongo. Eti, you were a delegate. These are the facts. Dr. Bawumia, I love him. He's an intellectual. He's a smart guy. But these are the facts. And as a political analyst and a political scientist, me feel say a big problem as a political party. So a person will call into an election and you want to win an election and you want to go and recycle same problem and go out there. Because total rejection rate, I know, analysis, was almost about 71.2% rejection rate across the country for our candidate.
So before you have an appointment, a local man, Omuchi party, amuji pa right ye wo dwuma no o ma na Agyapong no o ma ro for fidi wo mo ade bi pigene ntiza okay no how to be found no community o ko chief onimu so sinsini nyina no e ko yan bebe ene ebi wo obia
me o fu be pa na me catch hwe you go to about Dr. Bawumia onya say
60 something.
Why? A whole establishment. Uye DC, you were whipped online. Uye minister, you were whipped online. Was for one candidate.
Sanity.
If Agyapong was able to get say 37%.
Yeah.
Now whole establishment, you know, you have only 40%. 40% through 61. Now ready, Rebecca. Now compare Agyapong. That establishment, and then will be establishment, you know, the jigsaw is gone. To that 40%, required to assume is a move me DCES, Wontumi name it if you Wontumi can't let me say me kotunkoha, and I mean koha because you be imedi. Me CEO be Wontumi kaso be imedi. Me what? That thing will be a political strategies, by now they should be revising their nose. Hong Kong Kennedy will win by 72% of this elections.
72%.
About the market. Markets one man. Kennedy coming to Agyapong. He was able to get 31%. 37. Hey, can you too much? Compare also who
Dompoma, a puba, senior, what she said, ya, omoya rally near my air coswa. Which was Doctor, when young Crawford do na, what's the vote? Now a year day no man to a man, to a woman, a year day no man to a man.
Sorry, Mamma Sancha, what you would be. Maybe so do say. So, or make a to about Obisa MPP party and almost probably be so found food. Your bedroom sika, lady. See, I am persuaded to say, I 1 million. Oh. 1 million. Maybe say a better, but maybe the many politics. That's it. But we didn't go for your more 5 times. I T-shirt and wash it. Oko I no massa kumwa no massa ba. We do 3 times. I mama like I'm missing here. What you say? But maybe yeah. Ghana was fed up with MPP party.
Exactly. Yeah.
They were fed up from head to toe. And also should Kasama John Dramani Mahama. But there is no.
It's a John Mahama no one Kasa ne wini. Rather MPP for Nana Abre.
I was not surprised. And I want to enquire Biana. A different number catching me realms are changing. They were liars. Almost 90% of them were liars. Realms Biana and change here. It was mandated from Eradi Ankasa. Say very never. We are the deep one. We can't see it. Okay. Now we stand. Realms Biana are changing. O deep will be about culture. Say the two about realms and or a fake man of God. So
oh, they be prof.
Oh, I am the
in the realm would you have
sorry,
prof Yanshe, and Casan Chichia.
That's it. That's it.
Maybe I've been when your issue.
That's it.
Now I started. Or time for with 3 so what happened? Nigere. Oshama mi abakasa sabe wo mowa one said I wakasa na
boko say odwan wan na boy na
I feel that onya girl kwa woman.
That's it.
I love that woman so
that's
much.
It.
But yensha ne kasa no for say wo kasa etia Dr. Kennedy
maybe the sorry honorable Ken obe kasa etia obe sopa no be di na tem no akwanbo edema no It means honorable Ken a cheat of which in the honorable Ken. They do say, yes, out. Yes, that's it.
Now me back out. What oh your pastor?
That's it.
Now me be super still so prophet. Let me I say prophet. What are you one no?
Oh, say sorry. A free say silence means consent.
Hey, Ghana ha.
Oh yes. Silence means. Oh, so you say. Obeka me mabontin empo my yempa ntidie what you say eye just away my yempa ntidie
okay
so it is just away ntidie die ya ma Samira Bawumia very sweet woman,
okay,
very lovely woman, but kase bi wo hwa party be kase wo kwan mo amo say mo power 2028 and e ma so ne and they will use that thing against you. So Otomo Ken etoso mi ensa. What you say? Your papa John Dramani Mahama or your first.
Okay.
And to say uposa into this lineage. Maybe a ensembia enfra and you may be a sometime utu wa sumo say members bebre ahu somewhere you are not competent.
Okay.
Yes. Let me say when I sit down and see all those things, I see say MPP is not a competent party.
Nti wo kra e ma wani njesa wo bejan ne.
Me ngani party maybe na Buama. Wow, Buama, e ma fie e na dem prophet ya tewonka dem ya tayechi na so. Pastor Buama, obi do picture akono de region. Enti sa wo pa me ka wo so bi asore dem. Asofo yi na wala pass na akosia one church. I was any be bia
de Sadek aba wodi chini mu I think 200 and something. Physically
be calm, be sober. Obi a okuta to be ankasa bebre.
Okay.
And make the most noise. It's a meka can we say honorable can I say honorable can I come your way wa fa wa you say this man and then you best say papa John ex-president John Agyapong.
Okay, your former president.
You best say no. Only MPP for one kasa. No me fa ba to ma papa we no mo hwa de.
Oh, okay.
And 2020 is about to know. Decision about 50-50.
Okay.
Now spiritual realm and I believe the too much without normal Ken. MPP should forget about 2028.
Okay.
And the years beyond. So they should forget. They should forget.
MPP penny
they should forget.
And you didn't know more person what they are compared to Canada, Japan, Beba. Because yes, majority people no, yes, you can. And you dear pan last, I think that it was last 2 months. Napo, echo one of your sister station.
Yeah.
Ex the hawker say, not Kennedy to Obi. And you could fast in the agent, clever, and Kennedy. Oh, and yet
they are afraid of the man. That's the simple truth.
Afraid for what?
Who said? They are afraid of the man. That's the whole truth.
Okay.
And who said? Maybe the American Ken or found conform one. They are always imposter. Within honorable Ken, Omo, I said, Omo Kana, Omo ye, and Emma, ne Obituma fan and Tuma. They are always imposter. It make us say only 10 ho. Now, what is your meeting at Temwa, a man? What yes, it is a penny babontina so they retaliate here. And tell you, when you are my penny radio station, TV station here, said it, yeah, we say young value. Maybe the last time I'm a share Quabrane TV station.
Okay.
So we are now in the sheet now about what now so be a better 1 hour be a Mexican wonder. I don't watch them. That's it. I don't watch them. What you say? And to me know the best is always the best.
Okay.
And you cannot compete with honorable Ken. You know he is the man of the grassroots.
Okay.
Prophet is saying he is the man of the grassroots. And without honorable Ken, be being able to again.
Okay.
Now we say give one man so mon I'm fano. This time around they are trying. So many anything possible means. Me no can say we should give one to Kwako India.
Oh, quite day.
Kumaswo to Kwako India.
Oh, quite day.
Because of Ojene
PPP internal election. If you're aware, Dr. Bawumia has declared his intention to contest the party's presidential slot again. Canada, Japan is also in there, as well as Brian Agyapong general election. Canada, Japan.
Party people, he meets party people at funerals, talking to people. You know, politics is a game of numbers. You have to guidelines and regulations. We will not officially open the space. There is nothing barring that when you go for a funeral and party people decide to come and. I mean, if that is a logic, then it's campaigning. Not about me. I was in London meeting party people. He went for thank you to meeting party people. So also have interest in also contestants or be meeting party people. You see, the whole point about I mean, living a politically exposed life certainly will expose you to people, and I think the point has to do with not campaigning when you meet them, but there is nothing barring or banning anyone
having engagement with them.
Having engagement with them. But people that I know them, It doesn't mean that because maybe I may have any intention or
no party, but you know that as in outside people who came to meet you because you are coming.
So I mean, there is nothing wrong if even in your studios there are people who may be affiliated to party or party B. The fact that I meet you and engage you for the purposes of this conversation, irrespective of which party you belong to.
Here we don't show party colors here.
I mean, city
is a professional environment.
City is doing so well, and I'm saying that I may know I'm just using hypothetically for the purpose of this discussion. I may know you to be a party member of party A or party B. It's completely different when I come and meet professionally. Does not necessarily negate the fact that you may also be a party person. I go to court, I meet party people. I go to church, I meet party people. So that in itself, the whole idea of meeting party people or engaging party people, there is nothing unethical or nothing wrong with that. I think what develop the country. You see, let me give you some statistics. If you read data from the World Bank, for instance, the World Bank estimates and projects that just 2030, your 2030 is about 5 years from now, right? If you look at developing economy, this 1.2 billion people, those jobs are non-existent. About 400,000 people will get jobs. Of course, when I refer to developing economies, Ghana is also inclusive. Then it says that if you take any percentage, like 100 out of any 100 people, 80 of them that are working are underpaid. You are looking at they taking a salary not more than fees, fixing car and whatever. Certainly, people are literally living, on survivor, not necessarily on any decent basis. Then the remaining 20% are living in abject poverty. Deep in the statistics further, I have read researchers from Professor Kakare and other researchers who says that if every batch completes a national service, it takes a minimum of 10 years for half of that batch to get permit. Every 12 people that graduates from university, the state is only able to employ just 2 of them. So we are, and I'm sure that is even the root of these, issues and news of corruption that we hear, because at the end of the day, people have to engage in some of, even though not justifiable, it's almost becoming like a means of survival. President Kofo put it very succinct when he said that if we pretend to be paying workers, they also pretend to be working. And indeed, they will also be pretending to even be having a decent form of livelihood by natural sense they may be taking from the state coffers. So this is what Kennedy Agyapong represents. It is about time that we have to really tackle our unemployment. Of course, like you indicated, there's not time for campaign, but also not shy away of his broader vision, where it is about time that that his adult life has been more of job creation. As of now, he's recruited about 7,000 people. Within the next year, with the new factories coming up, the Ashanti Sea factory, the cherry tomato factory, and other factories coming up, he's also going to employ 10,000 people. So somebody who has been able to demonstrate that within this space that he's had to live as a man, certainly has been able to provide jobs in excess of 7,000, and is also promising to add about 10,000 people. I am sure, coupled with the character traits and the leadership traits that he has, he's bold, he's not timid, he's assertive, he's very passionate, he's disciplined at a crucial time like this. At a time where, as a country, we missed out on the first industrial revolution, the second industrial revolution, we didn't take advantage, the third industrial revolution, up to the fourth, we didn't take advantage of it. We need that kind of a leader who can leapfrog us in development, where we can also compete with the rest of the world.
How do you react to people who say that it's not too early for the MPP to be thinking about getting a leader for 2028, because the government of John Mahama is just 6 months old? The last election was, couple of months. Ghanaians are angry with the MPP, hence the outcome that we saw in the last election. So settle down, resolve all internal issues, and even think before you think about 2028.
Yeah, they are not entirely wrong. They are also not entirely right. But ultimately, we'll still get a leader, and getting a leader is not an event. It requires some process. It's natural when you are in opposition. Some of these commentaries is very synonymous with parties in opposition. But whichever way, we just have to be decorum, preach unity, and come together. Even the whole events rolling out is also part of the processes in even fostering unity amongst the party. Sometimes you may feel that somebody has gone haywire, there has been excesses. It's a phase. When you come to opposition, it's a phase that also move through. So they are not entirely wrong, but bottom line is that everything happening is also part of the processes of even coming together. And I want to also even commend particularly the two predominant forces in terms of Dr. Bawumia and Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, who has all been preaching peace, who has all been preaching unity for the party, that we all must come together. Because, I mean, I recall when we went to Takrade, for instance, the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong was very succinct when he put it that if there is no unity and peace in the party, even if we bring Jesus Christ, he cannot win us. There will be some level of resentment, there will be a level of blame game. But, I mean, ordinarily, I expected that even at the earlier stage, leadership would have demonstrated responsibility, say that, well, we apologize for things that maybe we expected should have been but it didn't happen.
But Dr. Bawumia has been doing his thank you, his thank you tour, apologizing to party people and Ghanaians in general.
Say I have not heard it, but other people have also raised concerns about some form of blame shifting and blame game, which came earlier, which I felt was avoidable. But I mean, I would be very hypocritical on my part to say that I've not heard, even though people that has even made similar calls. Every other person, even including Kennedy Agyapong himself, has also even apologized on behalf of the party, taking responsibility and said that, look, I mean, whichever way, we are one great party. Some of these things happened. We went into an election. Unfortunately, our expectations were not met, but we have to come together in one accord, in one voice, and move on.
Kufuor, who went twice before winning the 2000 election, and Kufuor before winning the 2026 election. So if the Bawumia camp is pushing for another chance for Dr. Bawumia to run again on the party's ticket.
First of all, it looks like people already have some form of prejudice against statements that are made or that come from the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong.
Really?
Yes, other than that, what Kennedy sought to do was to give a historical context to a statement that Dr. Bawumia himself has already explained, has already even made in the public space. Recall that it was Dr. Bawumia who advanced this argument, of course, given the historical antecedent of the party, and lay claim that President Kufuor was given the opportunity to go twice, and of course, Mr. President Akufo-Addo also had the opportunity to go 3 times, except to say that there was also another leg of the conversation of the history that we felt that he also maybe should have brought it out. But of course, I mean, he's a politician. It is natural that even when you are interpreting data or when you are making any statistical analysis, sometimes you can interpret it so that it may also support the case that you are making. So, I mean, we respect that. But when Kennedy met some of party executives in Mampong, he felt that there was also an opportunity for him to throw broader light and put a very wide scope and proper context to what Dr. Bawumia said. That is where he brought in that, yes, it's true, what Dr. Bawumia said is true, but there has always been a caveat to that precedent, and that caveat is on performance. And he cited the instance of President Kufuor, that despite the fact that President Kufuor had a very short period of campaigning, I think there has been contention about the number of months that he had to campaign.
Yeah.
We see, it is true, undeniable, that President Kufuor's election the primaries was in April 1996. But common sense and basic logic will tell you that when you are elected after primary, certainly you have to look for your vice presidential candidate. Assuming without even admitting that it took about 4 months, April to plus 4 months will give you around August, September. So it is not out of place if Kennedy Agyapong, as part of his argument, said that Kufuor had a very short period of campaigning, yes, still was able to make a significant mark of 39%, very historic. And on that basis, the party people felt like it was commendable. The signs were great, and for that matter, they needed to push him again. And yes, out of the 2000 elections, and then also that of President Akufo-Addo. Context is always important when you're having discussions like this. In the case of, for instance, Dr. Bawumia, he has had the opportunity more or less to project himself for about 16, right? For when he was the vice presidential candidate for 8 years.
He was vice presidential candidate. He wasn't the main candidate.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been the main candidate only once, which is 2024.
Yes, but I mean, whichever way, when I became the spokesperson of the Ministry of Education, it was a platform. Even if I was not so intentional about projecting myself, my work alone should speak for me.
Sure.
I'm sure it was even on this basis that I have had the opportunity to be speaking with you on this platform. So whichever way, Dr. Bawumia had the opportunity of projecting himself, whether it was intentional. That is cumulatively about 16 years. Then also had the opportunity to also even run in the main primaries and the elections itself. Now, just oppose that to also President Akufo-Addo, who's at the time the highest office that President Akufo-Addo has ever occupied in the history of our country was a Minister of State. Yeah. Yes, still. Do you know the outcome of President Akufo-Addo's election? President Akufo-Addo's popularity alone was able to traject the party and push us into a runoff to the extent that we lost the election at time with 23,000 votes. Same cannot be said about 1.7 million votes. So Kennedy Agyapong's foundation that he was building was that with all the history that Dr. Bawumia has laid and emphasized, the context is that at every point, the party people, the ordinary party foot soldiers, the polling station executives, they look at performance. And so Dr. Bawumia was right. But the other leg is that the context or the caveat is that, yes, you are given a second chance when you perform. Very finally, I think it's also important to also add that in the case of Professor Dubois, for instance, he was not given a second chance. You recall, but
the counter argument on that, which I've heard a lot of people on the Bawumia come say that election wasn't a proper election per se.
Oh, there is some election.
The 92 election really, switching from military rule to democracy. That election wasn't.
Should that not have even been the main reason why the party people should have even given a second chance? Because they felt that election was not even a proper election, and for that matter, Professor couldn't have been held liable for any loss or the humiliating defeat that the party had. Yes, so the party people felt that, well, you went and your records were not impressive, your performance were not impressive, and this is about data. Dr. Bawumia is a man of data. Which actually appears that when it comes to data on his performance,
but you know very well that every first-time candidate of the MPP has never
has its dynamics, especially within our circumstance where you can project the next dynamics. And with the 2028 dynamics, it is very certain that the NDC is also going to bring a fresh candidate, right? Again, despite the fact that MPP has never had a candidate who had even won once, we've also had a precedent where in Ghana, 2 presidents in their first attempt had won for the first time. Reference can be made to President Dramani Mahama, who won for the first time, President Rawlings, who won for the first time. So you also have to look at the realities of the moment, the mood of the nation, what Ghanaians are calling for, what the party people are calling for. I mean, at a time where people believe that the trust, the confidence that they have in the career politicians is eroding. I mean, can we also make a case of somebody we believe is pragmatic, somebody we believe is not weak, somebody we believe is this, or just oppose it with the realities that each election also presents? Yes, it is true MPP has never presented a candidate that maybe for the first time has won. But in Ghana, we also had 2 candidates that has won for the first time. And again, me sitting here as an MPP who is a member of the MPP who is in opposition, as soon as we advance that argument and that logic, essentially means is that I probably have to wait for the next 8 to 12 years before the party comes into power again, which I'm not ready for. Based on the extension of the history and the logic that we are advancing. If we have to go by that, I probably have to wait for the next 8 to 12 years. And I'm not sure. I have the opportunity, by the grace of God, I'm quite young. Even in the next 12 years, I'll be quite still younger. But there are a lot of people who were literally opposition members, even though we're in government. For the past 8 years, they complained that they had nothing. I'm sure it's also even one of the reasons why they voted against, or they did not go and vote. May not even reap the benefit of the sacrifices that he made to the party. And I mean, to be very realistic and not mincing ways, politics, even in unlife it, not even necessarily just activity, but I mean, there is always interest in everything. Even in doing good, we do good to look good. So certainly, I must reap the work that I put in as a party person.
That's all listening to Eyewitnesses, and this is Point Blank. My guest is Kwesi Kwate. He speaks for Kennedy Agyapong, former member of parliament for the Assin Central constituency, and one of the aspirants hoping to lead the MPP into the 2028 general election. Kwesi, we have some 3 minutes to wrap up the conversation. But then, how do you react to people who say that in this contest is going to be different compared to the previous one before the 2028 election, where a lot of people have accused or have said that Dr. Bawumia enjoyed incumbency advantage?
Ono Ernest Owusubempa adenti a oda onda do obechirem na wama eye nickname bi ho se obi eye obi ba JK in terms of economics na nsam na okeka ho no afi de ebe no fuel levy so a wate afa ho ensam a ho ka no wo chense dwache no osa ne ahye na koma mu ma no na ebu so no
medium cottoners here me wan na me nan su da say MDC public mama CD so ate aba be do sesebra because ye won kophobia omutimi ba be gina radio so ka kire Ghana fo nyina say ya lucky dollar no she dem dollar na be me agi be radio so confidence am de kasa no because you leader bia or ye head of economic management bi dum a no timi manager ya lucky CD ne she wa e ma ono atimi ba bonten ba be ka and then we bet chance in NDC for near from incompetence na NDC for timi achi dollar na mana be gina ki unmo ba jeki
fa won nyina to form
dabi na Krupa Lions any Red Lions no mo ko bobo no mo player bi odi efre no bi ba jeki obedwa na num sa ball no ye di Krupa Lions ye be shamo 3000 ye ko duru park so a obi ba jeki amese poto
bono to so
enei no ye mu bi ye trance ne ye ko akire ne ye be hwe de ye ko so me to me still I see NDC no incompetence no is still glaring, but the point is that today what are we seeing with what is the dollar rate now? What is happening? Ye obi ba JK for na ne ye say omudi animu ananka omutimi local dollar shed dem an empie na no mo we ne de akoshe Russia Ukraine war ye ka na mfa ne de afa na mo ye dollar idan. It was one of the fundamental issues that play a role in this election 2024. Minya obi o ka chem say mo flag bearer onu assure ye say onu de when it comes to management of the cedi and the dollar and the economy nobody can beat him. Say ye economy MPP ye symposium na ye obi ba JK be gina ho no man lecture no a the NDC ba bia bubu agu form. But you go to a point that say na ye obi ba JK ya the question be towards obi ba JK ko answer no dia fade gita na fe Ghana for hunu de ekọ. Hey, we were running away from the real issue of the economy and the city and the we were running away from it. Meboa intermediate de ye me nwanwa man na so da ye say NDC for private ma be manage dollar ama nei businessman bi be catch say catch them say mo tutu mu nyoma yi na the way a nyoma si kron enkofo we mu etimi we need the goodwill of the Ghanaian people no matter what. Unu de enti say obi ase ye ya yenko defend sa petrol omudi abeya omudi $1 to so ya. It's difficult because if you are a communication strategist, very difficult for you to go and defend as an MPP. What is your moral right to go and defend this? Because the point is that all the Ghanaian people wanted to see the dwindling of the dollar against the cedi strength against the dollar. Businessman oko cry dey free China no or the bad the all share say dollar no ni cedi no cedi ni gina ne nan so ane ho odin against the dollar. A majority of the business people, that's what we're looking for. Yes, ye dey need to obi ba JK so say bi ye be wuru say bibi koso na dollar ni bet manage man na so da ye da say NDC with this management of the economy and they hwe de koso and then we have to be honest say me as an MPP person me who say such situation happen based on your credentials in your when we were in opposition talking about competence in managing the economy and managing the city, you know. Now shed the course we are me who are my ferry because share will be a petrol station. Only paruka catcher say you dollar about for me so could D levy kurana a year on phone.
Sana ni pana catcher.
Yes, when you be by JK theory so Debbie. When you practical leadership strategy no mama and neutralizing nyoma bebre. When neutralizing nyoma bebre. Oko kase si ye ni enim book, ye ni enim way, ye ni enim otwi committee. Odi wani sha de bi sa ye ko communication meeting. I told them say your flag bearer is trying to deviate from the issues of the economy. On confront to number out to me apologize. E catch them say me so bodam for crowd the ntibida. Ye ko digital house economy. E binu be catch say they know the inside and out of the economy. They know how to manage the economy. They know how to grab the city and give the key to the IGP.
Dr. Bawumia during the thank you to no eka say na juma oyeye especially dollar yemfa gold enkonkoto oil ne ade no eno na ama enesidi no enya ho.
Can you go and explain to the ordinary Ghanaians?
That's all ono kai.
There we go and explain to the ordinary Ghanaians.
Sasa nansam na krampon starting yo owo me yapono no. Na 2 days ago ebuson bake ya made Her Excellency Samira Bawumia the video ebaye. Ochre who Dr. Bawumia is onunukunu leadership qualities na ade ni bia okuta. And wo bake ya in that particular reaction ebuson me kira wo say Her Excellency Samira Bawumia this particular statement na okano in reference to Endorsed Owusubempa aka Abua Papo ni sembi odi abetu gadada eno na akoye say ekutiabo ho ensensem a offer so a odi market eyenukunu Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia na adienti a meka say Endorsed Owusubempa ono so ensem we odi abetu gwa about NPP who will be their next flag bearer no ensensem no Endorsed Owusubempa okese ni mu no ena omode Her Excellency Samira Bawumia time a girls and boys echo the office just say premises wo no Her Excellency Samira Bawumia all kasa ni mu no atare we no hye all meeting girls no so e the premises wo mo kokasa no so no eno so atare we na hye na Endorsed Owusubempa ensam a all can in the next video ebusuame bebo no ensanu mu atele it's all about NPP omo flag bearer ho ensensem so parliament ni gumbe ne de ebusuan no den Dr. Bawumia ne report cast a obobo ho no anya sam ketwa
Adubu Ahiyama meye vice president of the Republic of Ghana for 8 years mumusa Adubu Ahiyama bebua mo amunim no obiani historians obiani Jay Kufuor the same thing Jay Kufuor wa meye obi the only thing oya say foreign minister Adabuzia and no any vice president or compare and obi oya running mate for a popular politician or compare with the difference and another danko Kufuor wa ma meye obi running mate and some be vice president and sana ye electing as a flag bearer when it comes to key fundamental things a woman and they say yeah the candidate are elections the reason why Jay Kufuor Kufuado Adubu Ahi ni na say MPP a can party NDC Mahama Babonte be ka kire ye nyina say o de mo minua Dr. Bawumia odi mochi o de di o mochi eduru say leadership ba MPP for few they will never vote for you and MPP delegates enya reshemu say no we are not an account party no we will not accept this we have a vice president who is a Muslim we have a vice president who is an ordinary we want to prove to every Tom, Dick and Harry say we are not and again the party will get more votes from the North and the Zongo community to complement Ashanti and other any day any ekotu abanu boom even though there was an establishment support and remember how and omode man now check the data no and am dey man no tie our candidate didn't call 2024 election he lost onya 0 over 30 polling stations in the northern region 0 Adubu Ahi Jay Kufuor utie Adubu Ahi Jay Kufuor Nana Danko Kufuor none of these candidates are free north enya 0 sir in over 30 polling stations and that's the main reason why we wanted to prove Mahama that we have a non-candidate like him we have a Muslim candidate meboa but yet our candidate now or see your man a second chance no he got 0 in over 30 polling stations
and not just saying
polling stations are northern region no 3 northern regions no 30 unya 0
until sa 0 no nya no
say na me ubebuza me ko buza no
say dey na so say because say mo na munya asa gidie no say meba o ka ho ya munya gidie say Zongo communities no say mo de Dr. Bawumia ba on beto aba e de amamo mems e beto aba e de amamo yet mo de naba na say mo akọ bakodi ntwo ayete sa na me busa say e de benti na kire say nipa na so say mo benya vote free na mo anya no e kire mo say den
well you go and ask the party Akufuado about power the first thing abra oye and it's over set up a Zongo community because we thought we have that kind of MPP MPSM Zongo for MPSM nti da no say dey you push an agenda of Zongo community development. Never boa. Whole ministry was established. You have a vice president who was having oversight responsibility as a running mate and a leader. What not say I a running mate for 8 years. I was a vice president. You say, this time the Zongo hold you be fan fala. In fact, on one club regional say the Dr. Bawumia badia Zongo and the northern region you fan form. I was so happy because me knew, and me in particular, God is my witness. The only argument I was always making is that once we have a candidate who's from the north, a candidate for the first time who's a Muslim, we will sweep.
And on that TV, no.
The north, the Muslim votes and the Zongo votes. Now check the statistics. Apart from Winiba Zongo, you lose all the Zongos in the country. I'm saying you have an electric magnetic strategy. And you are a delegator. These are the facts. Dr. Bawumia, I love him. He's an intellectual. He's a smart guy. But these are the facts. And as a political analyst and a political scientist, me feel say a big problem as a political party. So a person will call into an election and you want to win an election and you want to go and recycle the same problem and go out there. Because total rejection rate, I know, analysis, was almost about 71.2% rejection rate across the country for our candidate. The analogy I know here, and Agyapong is here a candidate. How can Agyapong be president? You are not sensible than the Americans. Donald Trump was they look America for no media no FN say he's a riffraff. No of an table. Somebody that they can't even imagine him being the president. But Americans say they can see a leader in him. Oh, Papa Wena, did we attempt no did one attempt? Oh, the moon check it in Japan. Banta or no be biano. It was because of MPP. Oh, one meka as someone
Ghana in general.
And fan one. Because of MPP and Ghana fighting for justice for people. When the catch yourself the kokomote kwa iya and fast to nya kwan. Asante for the bus abeno. Udi kokomote kwa iya ya de sutro ne ja kwan. Ena wan na pofo asempa kodo. Ah, papa na kuma ena unya obi a owo passion for people, the love that he has for people no. Ohun yo ma bia na any time. Ana me ozu bemba me na mo senkofo bebrese menye. Ah? Enso so hu abeka no Ghana ha part of society hu ade na say o ma me bakra na aka say a yeso nye. But the once na hu o ma wiei e bitimi dani boja hu hwan anajo. Ebe na me buntieni o. Ye onkofo bu an once na hu o ma wia o mutimi dani boja hu hwan anajo. Said the Ghana for ka e na me ozu bempa ma betra ha me ka kire wo. Na Ghana for say MPP amanyoku Yemfa Kennedy Agyapong bra. And as a deputy communication director, my job is to communicate what the ordinary people are telling us to the people of Ghana. Nien country homonian country the whoever knows the delegates you know near deno. What you say to we catch us and who's empower communication director and what taking sides? No, I'm not taking sides. I want my party to come to power. Et you know, the omu karameno and I may communicate to my party delegates. Said that is what Ghana for some of the Kennedy Agyapong ba Wontumi. It won't cover Kennedy Agyapong, right? Tianuti na menia bra me ha me kasa. Ghana for no can every day. Nanu me betra ha me kasa. Uni ma hemfo afre me. Unim a lawyers ni doctors ni penifo toto wuro a frame of Ghana ha. Asem no eno ana usu aka no. Kosoa na remind the Ghana for say mudi Kennedy Agyapong ba ye beto aba.
Eno no san kire bu say ebe no NPP eye flag bearer ho sensem election yo mo bekoya Kennedy akompre ko Agyapong obe win hands down. Percentage be na Kennedy akompre ko Agyapong obenya. Ose obekire reason ti a Kennedy obe win this election.
Let me tell you why Kennedy Agyapong will win this election.
Tell me.
Opa ne bode tuto. Ene mo pa mu nyina
mo fa. Ene 2025.
Me ozu be mpa na me catch no. Hwe. You go to about Dr. Bawumia onya say
60 something.
Why? A whole establishment. Uye DC. You were whipped online. Who a minister, you are whipped online. Who a CEO, you are whipped online. Anybody that matter, a whole government machinery was for one candidate. If Agyapong was able to get say 37%. Yeah. Now whole establishment, you know, you have only 40%. Now Dr. Bawumia has 60
something percent.
61%. 40% free 61. Now ready Rebecca. Now if I compare Agyapong. That establishment and then no be anyone more so say you could say contest you do one about you have 2 police stations you are. That establishment, you know, the jigsaw is gone. To that 40%, because they assume is a move bears at 15, 20, 25, 30. So the two about no be anti me because me DCES won't be a name it if you won't be kind to them say me kotunkoha and I mean koha because you be medi. Me CEO be won't mean caso be medi. Me what? That thing will be a political strategies, but now they should be revising their nose. Alone, Kennedy will win by 72% of these elections.
72%.
About the market. No be a whole establishment. It was against one man. Kennedy Agyapong. He was able to get 31%.
37.
Hey, can you too much? The whole establishment too. Now you see who bought
messages. And somewhere na Endorsed Owusubempa aka Abua Papum oye NPP. Then it means Her Excellency Samira Bawumia akwa say sa time yes obe praise new Endorsed Owusubempa ka say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia only that leadership quality no or managerial skills. Sa so na Kennedy akompreko Agyapong de ono leadership no ebon wo ho kra na wote. So Samira Bawumia Her Excellency sama I say sakatwum show so de ba ye no e na Endorsed Owusubempa so aforce a o de ensem wei abetu dwa wa bogumbe superment ene sakatwum show sa wasan so agane se no ebuso kyerwa
sa campaign we no my and I repeat again campaign we Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia timi kwa asori den Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ko muslimi dem timi travel kokwa abusum dem yes Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is doing campaign as if the NPP is in opposition. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the only politician who is able to attack his own policies. Just make a policy on one by the other. Whereby I say he played an instrumental role. Mahmoud Bawumia won say campaign to NPP.
Mentiase.
I don't want to promise
Bawumia say campaign to NPP.
The new patriotic party catch say they just had to boot no. They want to get a lot of revenue or resources to run the country.
Yeah.
They make a projection and estimation.
Yeah.
About the friends e-levy. MPP from quantity cover obi incapacitated obi yare. Yes, why yare? Because of e-levy.
Yeah.
You look at Hunter West. For former religious chieftaincy affairs minister at the member. But put it not to ambulance him. And another reason here. You can see pass e-levy. MPP from quantity cover imposter. Say Adwasafu adene ba.
Adwasafu look alike. If you who oba ni bi ewo.
Me say, no me am record na. Won no kotena chairman sa bontu no obi anka sam finfini. We ya be ma akohoi. We ya be ma akoho. And it came to pass that they can pass the e-levy. Kiasa make a choyi. Say e-levy no eya de papa. Why is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a former Petuni Sanoman? Any panel our kasa asem. Oh kofa e-levy buy no. Yes a cap do 100 Ghana. Mahmoud Bawumia made about 100 Ghana. Why is he running away from it?
I thought it's a campaign against e-levy.
Why is he running away from it? Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, no ye campaign say TMPP. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia catches or by LGBTQ plus will become Mebwa. President couldn't say it is an equality to do LGBTQ plus Ukruma. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the president to call the the papa. Because if you look at Islam, by the Quran, or make catch us and the papa bet haram. Ente ye haram no the woman nyane say wontumi nka ho asem but Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia so oba sa 10% to be the free he is aiding and abetting and try to do this kind of stuff
and from God back man tia sense now share mahama no so in terms of social media number share Bawumia but the only time MPP a campaign without regional rallies
me say they are going down
without a regional rally.
Me say they are going down I say they are doing a new way of doing campaign.
And you are telling me, say, Bawumia, a year campaign, presidential candidate.
How can you determine me? How can you determine some year campaign? It's the number of votes that you get. And yes, sir. Almost 2 million. And I'm a trouble for MPP. What is their research about it? Even Mama say, "San can you put 2 million no I laugh." Only, sir, 2 million. Ebianka 2 million in also pay abon so ma be trouble. Ebianka mu 1.5 million. And I can say because of a buffon to amount trouble for the new patriotic party. Amount trauma John Dramani.
John Boyd can say that. Frank, me pata me call comment.
May your opinion pool ene. Opinion pool ne say John Mahama de na okan no, what de hu de. Afin so mbese mbusa. Se MPP form fa Bawumia mra. Ana se ma mo fa Bawumia emma. Ene de meka ho asem no. Afin so yen kan kire me. Ba ye de yaso na atoto form se ebia wo mu nso wo mu betimi aboa MPP 2028 yate yewra kan Agyapong onya ebia obekire na adwen yewra Brian Champon na sa papa na mrepem na meka Brian Champon asem na nyam wotene no nya sa akra na ote no mrepem yebeka no ho asem yenya yatete sa onyan kan kire ye de ba yatete ewo baby se yewra Dr. Yaw Adutwum nso sa kwanya ba ebia ono nso beyi niti ene enya nipa be but se de yatete no yehu so mu ayi omu ti pa no eye Dr. Bawumia ono ewo mu dada yewra Adutwum yewra Agyapong yewra Brian Champon nti ene mebusa se osusu se Bawumia na ne emfa ne mra mo MPP for no ana se omunsu sa Dr. Bawumia isi for ne mfrebi because ye de yade ewa ha nti wa wo ye MPP ni ye bedika ma emma na frɛ ansa na emmema no nso afrɛ obia wadi ye chini nim se inhyira fam ye opinion polls sa polls na ye no se edrumre bi na elections no time no ye bie lines ka kire wo se why na beto ama no se nipa be 50 na efra obetimi enye mu be ta no mu ka se John Dramani Mahama samre na MPP for ne say because inhyira fam ye NDC they no mu can know because inhyira fam ye NDC radio station intino esan se NDC for nko an ti FM nti enu nti eye normal say John Mahama nkofo be ka se John Mahama no be wi ni one day omu dada omu ho eni omu ne because o man gi antum se inhyira fam no MPP for create more than NDC for me ka kire when MPP for etie inhyira fam more than NDC for by a katu omu trimu se na Antoine na pam for ye NDC ni ntino so be lines are NDC for ne frɛ entima mu nyintum because Dr. Bawumia breaking the age no ya break here wi sa na MPP for kan and then Shanke Rade say MPP for they say e kasa omutie enti ene be opinion polls ntu ye MPP ni a na watie na wonso wo dia wafa because asidie but afide ye kasa amutie enti no mo be fa enti ene mo betie bu ye MPP executive ni se MPP executive ni nyina etie ye be bie lines no sa lines ye ma serial callers mfre ye ma NDC ni bia nso mfre ye be ma MPP for wo ona e be frɛ na wanka so atusu ope Dr. Bawumia ye mfa no mra mo MPP for no mfa ne mra anase omun sesa Dr. Bawumia Adutwum yenke kan sem kakra mbom nti wa wo ye MPP ni ye bedika ma emma na frɛ ansa na emmema no nso afrɛ obia wadi ye chini nim se ba mu pepepe edika me enka nkyerɛ se edrumre bi na elections no time no ye bie lines ka no mu kan know because inhyira fam ye NDC radio station intino esan se NDC for nko an tie inhyira fam nti enu nti eye normal se Jomaha because o man gi antum se for etie inhyira fam more than NDC for ba ye katu omu tirimu se Nana Jantuani na pam for ye NDC nintino. So be lines are NDC for ne fre. Entimamu nyintum because Dr. Bawumia breaking the 8 no ya break here we sa na MPP for kai. And then Shanke Rade say MPP for they say kasa omuti. Enti ene be opinion polls into ye MPP nia na wetie. Now also what dia wafa because sidie but afi de ye kasa mutie enti no mo be fa enti ene mo betie bu ye MPP executive ni say MPP executive ni nyina tie. Ye be bie lines no sa lines ye ma serial callers mfre ye ma NDC ni bia nso mfre ye be ma MPP for MPP ni wa wato aba ma MPP pen a wonye NDC ni but MPP ni wo ona ebe frɛ na wanka so atusu ope Dr. Bawumia ye mfa no mra mo MPP for no mfa no mra anaso mo nsesa Dr. Bawumia aduchum Agyapong Brian Champon why now susu say MPP for no yi na ebetimi aboa but first yenke kan sem kakrambom
na say okwa kape obi oba obeka cho say ebia wotan Sam George ba mentano but metana adwuma because ade we na wo ye no no kwasem ne say e wo national security implications.
Was it even necessary?
Yeah, meba number 1 and say as a minister who be do media houses radio stations number 1 and say I was so we discuss it with the national security coordinator. Now we move brief the president say media house way. Wama ye way ya bomo omuntia omuso omuntia yan enti this is the ana ye pesi take na omampani hu say Sam George eye nipa bi o respect ne ho a na adwuma no a wo ye no obu ne ho a anka immediately and I was so doing Jumato. I am telling you, I was so resign.
What take a decision?
Because minister I take a decision. Na Omampeni Ababontain Ababa reverse decision. No. And no not say when refu president and said I'll take a decision. And you must resign immediately. I am telling you. And yes, I'm town. No, but adia na wo ye no kwasem ene say adia ba ko a e wo say politicians esua bibi e wo ho ne say look this mainstream media no asesen e kamia ye say ye kusku kusua de but na me no te hayi se ye tse ye ntro essay enfamra omo kusku no betro omo de nyame adum e anso beboa ne so ya tre de ebre bi aso ye na wo say obi tre studio ha DJ 24/7 and then Yamia da Roma Sesia noa and Numa machine Nankasa be mixing no bini. Emre bi aso ye nanka osi enya reporters ebegu all rounds no the story saba and now some no talk from kwen within a minute on sabeka the system is changing and tumunya sade ani sa hunu no sabin prediasa asase Wontumi other na media houses bia say asase any Wontumi ko
na say would wani asi wo mo so
ya ba ye no SYZ FCB
yatumu
yankwa kasa se yetu omu de mu a ebe ye da na ebe ya but no kwasem e wo mu ne say munya media ne hawo ne ye ne ye ho. Politicians should stop some tata yen no na mumma media for the bread do
na say me MPP ayebi obi aka ese de MPP mu ye enye say via say ye nuan radio gold kwade na wo mu stream wo Facebook
yes
na ebasa enipa bebre ahwe wo mu adwuma na ade enti enye ne papa mu enti say MPP ayebi ma me ese owusu mu a enche say NDC nso aba ese ayebi what abra said His Excellency Doma America no wo betumi
Suban way and Honorable Sam George I am telling you say honorable say we honorable member to say the okay no ye wo gina west so no ma bia no wo ya de wo pɛ no a I am telling you BBC eba ye no BBC and say America wo either Fox and want some more Fox News and BBC.
BBC London.
I'm saying one of the countries they have opposite way but still they are still operating. And the Munim say yeah say adie ba ko NDC here pa opposition media houses. I am telling you say and some are catching another danko kufuado. So tia and Cananado, and KBMPP da so etiakunya so because and some ya ka ye nyina no omo call rounds after so omo su ye no omo call rounds omo ko ba na adwuma ma no na kokodi wampi eno no beboa wo am we save we integrity anya sagefu anya wo kurum ha yam force da ma urade eya na eya communications authority NCA added to just say 60 radio stations bi ha yenguno womo yan suspend womo kakra esan say wonjumadi ahodo e wose womo edie ene ntotoya e wose womo digu na kwem no womo amiti standard nti yenyu womo emfiri ho na asemi eba beto dwa no na chese Wontumi FM ye won kran ha eka ho Wontumi FM ye watakra de eka ho ene Wontumi radio stations awodo bebrenu ano eka ho a yatum asase radio ye wo nkran ha asase pa de wo Kumase ene nasefo nyina nso no ya suspend wo mo ya keke kwaje wo mo license ya no na wo mo achese wo mo ejina LI 1991 ena wo mo ejina so eye Electronic Communication Act no 2008 Act 775 ena wo mo ejina so a wo mo didi sa adwuman na de kan wo mo chese 28 radio stations bi mu ewo ha wo mo enkrata na wo so mo de ye adwuma no as spy ya na wo mo enya renew ye o mo renew kro mo renew ni late enti amfa kwem e makwa ku 28 14 stations nso ewo ha wo mo adie no na e wo se wo mo commence operation within 2 years free da wo mo gi authorization so mbe ye adwuma no o mo anye adwuma no na mo ye kra nanka necessary inspection and cause o so mo ye no o mo anye ntie no so o modum no dia to so miensa 3 stations bi o ha ye ma wo mo provisional authorization nanso sika wo so mutua no wo mantua ama na nwie o mutua bi ena o mugye bi ena 7 radio stations bi enso ewo ho sika no wo mutua mom na mom na nke wo se wo mo fa mpanimfo no mba be head the final approval no wo mo amfa amma ne senti matum na asemi Honorable Sam George ekasa fa ho etetirimu ewo mrase bedwafie
radio broadcasting is more than a source of information and entertainment. It's a trusted lifeline for civic engagement, public awareness, including national emergency alerts and dialogue. It connects people to the government, the economy, and each other, often in real times. Mr. Speaker, under Ghanaian law, any entity seeking to establish and operate an FM radio station must first obtain a frequency authorization from the National Communications Authority 2011 LI 1991. The authorized entity is required to construct and operationalize the station within 2 years of receiving the authorization. Before any station is permitted to go live, the station must invite the NCA to inspect the construction and installation of the station to certify that the station conforms to the standards established by the NCA for radio broadcasting in Ghana. It's not optional. It is the legal foundation for ensuring that our national spectrum is used responsibly, professionally, and in the public interest. Regulation 56 of the ECR 2011, a renewal application must be submitted to the NCA at least 3 months, 90 days before the expiration of the existing authorization. Failure to comply with this 90-day prior timeline results in the application on 12 February 2025 Shortly after I assumed office as the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, I issued a directive to the NCA to produce a complete listing of frequency authorizations granted or renewed within the preceding 60 days. The objective of the audit was to produce an accurate and up-to-date inventory of all assigned, unassigned, and unauthorized frequency holdings in Ghana.
Why ayan Samoa Honorable Sam George Eddie Etuja na wari ye no sena Owura John Dramani Mahama ebo nyo de akosonso eti Owura John Dramani Mahama nso putu no yemo mo akwanya na omunyo omadwuma esan se de ye no wo ye no sa pe na media freedom no e na wutietia so no yanya sa enu nti wosoafo no a e wosan komusiesie e ma ne ye no omonsan enkonkosiesie Sam George eteye no wosan e de tudwa se wama wonnefu aduasa se omonfansiesie.
This is a declaration against impunity, abuse, and inertia. The airwaves do not belong to the powerful and connected. They belong to the public, and we are duty-bound to govern them transparently and effectively. Our fight is not against free speech. It is against lawlessness, asset misappropriation, and regulatory defiance. I remain committed to reclaiming what rightfully belongs to the Ghanaian people and laying the foundations for a fair, modern, and technologically equipped broadcasting sector. Once again, Mr. Speaker, due to the clemency His Excellency the President has asked for, there is 30 days from today for all defaulting media houses to rectify their default and breaches. And Mr. Speaker, the ministry has shown that we are willing to reinstate. Earlier this year, we shut down 6 media houses who have all rectified their breaches and they have been reinstated. We urge the defaulting media houses to take advantage of the President's clemency for 30 days.
Why I am Sam George at the Atuja and the
na yegusiwo mrashebedom ho ena mrashebedom dom dodo danu ni Honorable Mahama Ayariga wodeto mrashebedom nanimu se ane emra wo ho ayede ye adwuma ewo ye memu ena ye de obo enwuma ahodo no ye nyina emra bataye ho ntino ye ntumi nka so we de ye mane nko we de wonye Debi emrana na ese ye adwuma ma Ghana etumi egya ne naso na efa ne ntoma pa efrenti ono de ne oka nyina ne se regulations ahodo ye a ebata de obonyuma ene ye dwubedie eho no ye nhwe se ye betri amanfo adwen siso na ye de ye adwuma se de tie pepepe.
This endeavor to comply with the conditions of the license, it is as simple as that. It is a national asset and the frequency has been allocated to you, subject to payment of certain license fees. Please pay your license fees. I don't think any of us is interested in waking up in the morning, tuning into a radio to hear what is happening before you even step out of your house, only to be told that the radio station has been put off. So we don't want that. But please endeavor to comply with the conditions under which you have been licensed to operate. So that is all that I will say. And also to emphasize that I have looked at the laws under which the minister has issued the suspension directives.
When a majority leader mrashebedom dom dodo danu ni Honorable Mahama Ayariga ni nyina mu na dom kuma e wo mrashebedom micro minority emu peni
you see
just Kedi Agyapong.
Of course
Wabepa Honorable Kennedy Akompre ko Agyapong chew
say the see be on fanche.
Good morning, boss. Good morning, boss.
I think that is the spirit of democracy.
Hey,
and you need say, but look, the contest never you pay the best candidate. If JFK is the best, we support him. Amongst those who would come and say a contest, if JFK is the best, we support him. If he's not, given his record or not the data, the performance, there are issues coming up. So JFK were not in control because the system was bullying them and all that. Probably how we look at him, we will not look at him that way. So he needs to impress upon us why 38%, why the discrimination, Menuka there are petitions against Abroni and others in the party. We have not heard any response.
I see.
You get the point? Yes, and we also some time ago to Bawumia campaign. He came out to disassociate himself from it. So who really?
Yeah.
Yes, it shows you that he's repentant. Because Bawumia goes out to talk about 2028 election. That is not a campaign. Campaign. That is how unfair the system is. What do I say?
Okay.
And, let us have a leadership that will be fair. You can't say I say. What do I say? Nah, thank you, Tony. I will be sick. The party is not even concerned about the criminal who attempted murdering somebody. The party, as a national party, should be concerned about who attempted to murder that young man. We should make sure the law takes its course. Damn around, we are saying that we are not going there where we support to be by force. Hey, now you need somebody can achieve my sofa. The idea of me, and I can tell you with all confidence, some people were intimidated, deprived. Oh, now I'm saying, private macho men are support you.
Yeah.
One protect Ken, you're two abandoned, no. Oh, people, party communicators in Ashanti region who were pro-Ken were not given allowance when the allowance came. I don't know when I check one more movie. One party, I see. Select a few people. No, what teach them as preferential. That is what we don't want to happen.
Me say ebi musu betray no. Ya na eye ne party true crane na bi. Current national executives, Momo team Ken munim se omu mafia Kennedy akompre kwa Japan. Election ni mo no mo betwe mo ka.
Omo se unim se national obi an contest bi apart from general secretary obi no ko contest bi mu.
Na ono so
ono.
Mo ho se
ya be fa no ho adwene.
Mo be fa JFK ho adwen.
So the Agyapong aba eremu mo bo no eyi na adamfo. So the Agyapong, you see?
JFK the Agyapong.
Of course.
Wabepa honorable Kennedy compare kwa Japan chow.
Say the see be on fanche.
Good morning.
Yeah, move on as a party.
Good morning.
And I think that is the spirit of democracy.
Hey.
And you need near some per se, but look, the contest never you better the best candidate. If JFK is the best, we support him. Amongst those who would come out say the contest, if JFK is the best, we support him. If he's not, given his record or the data, the performance, there are issues coming up. So JFK were not in control because the system was bullying them and all that. Probably how we look at him, we will not look at him that way. So he needs to impress upon us. Why 38%? Why the discrimination? Menuka said there are petitions against Abroni and others in the party. We have not heard any response.
I see.
You get the point? Yes, and we also some time ago to Bawumia campaign. He came out to disassociate himself from it. So who really?
Yeah.
Yes, it shows you that he's repentant. Because Bawumia goes out to talk about 2028 election. That is not a campaign. That is how unfair the system is. What do I say?
Okay.
And, let us have a leadership that will be fair. You can't say I say. What do I say? Okay. Thank you, Tony. I will be sick. The party is not even concerned about the criminal who attempted murdering somebody. The party, as a national party, should be concerned about who attempted to murder that young man. We should make sure the law takes its course.
The constituency executives, youth activists, invited guests, Adia Amafimpong, Patriotas. We say Reverend Intim for the Ababati. Your Excellency, it's important that you all encourage you. In 2009, We were at a similar location and at a similar place in our practice. But we never gave up and we never lost hope. Thank you for opening your doors to receive all of us today. But I'm confident that this covenant-keeping God will keep his covenant with you.
Phoebe, oh baby, I no more cassette. Oh, Sinupe, Omea, no more can PP, once a more person almost same PP pattern. The only time I mean who said, will be back, say, aha. Ye can't MPP assembly per se partner is when we rise to defend honorable Kennedy Japan. Bibia to honorable Kennedy Japan, the ya, or no, dear, on your gun ni, on your MPP ni, into a bibet me can want some a fan who diako. Yet he come on ye nas our small boy, regional chairman, he beke cancer for honorable Canon. Kwame through date, Obian cash in farm. When you come and sit here and want to defend honorable Ken and know their own MPP for us. Let me make this point clear for everybody to listen. This platform is not for MPP. Ken City Media Limited is a limited liability company. Of who the honorable Ken is a director of this company. He's a financier of this company. He's a founder. It's the platform where Aka NDC from the year 2007, I'm fighting for MPP abesi na. Honorable Ken Japan on the Nasemba yentimi fa mi nka manana. Ye be kampa. No paso pa ngoma so no anu modentia. Unim say ni yeyem. No ne platform ne ye party adwuma ne de. Na obi asem nkoso moya de. Ba se bi obi ka bi before Honorable Ken ho a. Wo ba banti be kasa de ne ye ka. Ene hwe sa boy oti Wontumi ready se fe no koka. Ni titi sa iron box iron. Box iron. Na onoti ho kase this is the guy I'm talking about. Na onoti ho kase Honorable Ken ye adwuma against MPP. No akro na wo kasa kra no police station executive 5 kra wa pe bida. Our party no. Wo fi na about party no. And you people think say like I said you have monopoly over nkwasi asem. Etimu betena radio so ansem fun kwa na mokeka. Semfun kwa na mokeka. Now Honorable Kennedy Japan, do you even qualify to be his garden boy? What you say? Na ujina ho na boy way. E kan MPP asem na obia entimi nka hwenkyere no because I mean who is that coca? Who is he? What is his relevance in even the party? Ono what chobo ahen na waka o party no. Who could ahen na waka? Time na MPP nya me ma no wo hifa. Now was and when you come and respond to them, they tell you say, say party. You see, when people like this, when they rise up, we have to shut them down. Because I'm saying what the genius why and coca and them say Jimmy ya and the clone say no komoa. Oh no, or person what I say or GD or ye say Jimmy no the corona. Ye the nyansa be ye a more draw the amano. Ye the best son. Ye be pegin ye the best son. What I say? So person lekin so e be man na like here draw. Honorable Ken aba be say bi di levy. Abuofu. Di levy. Honorable Ken e buy. And as Honorable Ken is a member of the government. When Dr. Bawumia was roaming about saying, say, or President Kufuor so or 1 year, or another year, as we know. At that time, that government issue be any krum haneyeka. It is when Honorable Ken Kasem Kwan out to say, NDC Assembly, no, Honorable Ken Jai, camp party assem. Now, I'm can hear people for and PNC for them. When people are distorting facts and you want to come and set the record straight. Ya chini de dia. Enfa yes are no. Honorable Kennedy Japan. Obia ope Honorable Kennedy Japan asem bia pe na asem for one reason. Say ono on condone wrongdoing. Yes. Anna no kren so there we yen den obeden obeka. If say uchi no kra ubechi Honorable Kennedy Japan. Kata sumu mwaso eni na kwem ana MPP for a highly honorable Kennedy Japan. Bebre including Chairman Wontumi mu nyina mo call friend say defender of MPP ni nyina ne say MPP nya asem a obema no wo fie ni honorable Kennedy Japan sorry the MPP echi e ka MPP asem o honorable Kennedy Japan MPP nti yenya ayi or the saying prosecutors mo charge honorable Ken treason because you but and never be abedru no I'm telling you say until said Dr. Bawumia train it is up as well contest for MPP flag bearers panel honorable Kennedy Japan and conforshate say omo the same papa mu ni sa enema we air so all because nipa wa pota manafe this time also the bebo mu edibi or the bebo mu so a yes yema uni or the bebo omo pro what did Dr. Bawumia echi ana so na baby ana so umpe honorable Kennedy Japan asem na say wo they be I call those people later they say because if they sit down na some fan PP to her na mo for honorable Kennedy Japan to her na am for the contribution to the party. I'm telling you say obi a only honorable Kennedy Japan echi a o kan asem money bitia no o be sesa wadwen
me mo de can I issue bi wo ha yen clear me person clear
okay
e wo tax issues
okay
idea we were asem penifo bia e dwane wo but I think we need to set a record
okay.
Kennedy is working against MPP enemy facts koshe anytime bia NDC beye ye bibi no abedane distraction and
onua video na okokoshe baaye o mesre say Chairman Wontumi o Kennedy Japan amaya ti ase say oni Wontumi nyina mu ye baako esan say den omu nyina party baako na mu no mo empapa mu enye we akame we etime we didi we atem we twabo we ni nyina ede empapa mu ni confusion ebeba ye hia nkabom ewo MPP party nim.
On the docket, and from interrogations that a whopping 538,333,542 cedis and 65 pesos, that's how accurate we have been all the time, has been lost. The detractors of oral, that is those who do not want or are not enamored of the oral, say that they and their lawyers will frustrate me. I have plans in place to avoid frustration. Okay? I know what I really very seriously. Look, if you have had 8 million Ghana cedis lodged into your account from public funds and you say you frustrate the prosecutor, how are you going to do that?
Keep watching Magical G.
Gators additionally established that some of the ghost names were added to the list submitted by vendors, representing the number of service personnel to whom they had supplied items or provided loan facilities, allegedly. When these vendors eventually received the payments, the directors and staff would then contact the vendors whose accounts had received payments, meet with them, and collect the additional money that had been added to the vendors' payments. For instance, we have conclusively established that after collecting these funds, some of the suspects, such as Gezi, Nyanko, and Othing, handed them over to suspect Ose Asibe entry in cash, and on some occasions deposited the cash into his bank account. Ose Asibe was the chief executive, the director general of the National Service Authority. Some directors, such as Gifty Owari Mensah, created and executed a meticulously detailed plan using NSP, National Service Personnel Allowances, as security to obtain a loan of 30,698,218 cedis, 69 pesos, from the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, at an interest rate of 23%. She achieved these results by using other people's information to register a company called Blocks of Life Consult without their knowledge or permission. Subsequently, she presented blocks of life consult through a middleman in the person of Maxwell Akwesi Oforiminta to an official of the Agricultural Development Bank, enlisting her husband, Mr. Peter Mensah, a lawyer, to act as one of the directors or representative of the said company. She told ADB that the company specialized in supplying home appliances to national service personnel and proposed that ADB finance the company to enable it to supply these items on higher purchase basis to the service personnel, with the NSA being responsible for handling the deductions and repayments. During the period, suspect Gifty was the acting director, Gifty Owari Mensah was the acting director of the authority. However, on the marketplace of the authority, there was no indication that Blocks of Life was a registered vendor. Within 2 service years, suspect Gifty Owari Mensah used a total of 9,934 ghost names to misappropriate the aforementioned funds. Investigation further established that after ADB transferred the funds into the account of the company, she subsequently transferred the funds into 4 different company accounts, with Agyapong, Scaffold, Ochi, and Aristo Logistics and Trading. It was further established that suspect Gifty is a director of Agyapong, and Scaffold Company Limited belongs to suspect Abraham Gacy. That between 3rd March 2023 and 20 May 2024, suspect Gifty transferred 22,925,518 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos to Agyapong, 1 million Ghana cedis to Scaffold, 1,572,000 Ghana cedis to Ochi, and 5,200,000 Ghana cedis to Aristo Logistics and Training. We have this on record. We have all the bank details. We have everything. In the docket. Investigations, however, established that Agyapong, from 2017 until April 2024, and Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, April 2024 to December 2024, were responsible for preparing and transmitting NSP payroll data to GIPS for payment of allowances with the approval of the former NSA Director General, Mustafa Yin, from February 2021 to September 2021, and Osel Sibe entry, September 2021 to January 2025. Without their explicit authority, nothing was possible. In other words, all these transfers could not have taken place without the authorization of the Chief Executive Officer and or the Director General, depending on the nomenclature that was used to describe their roles. In the 2022-2023 service year, a total of 8,256,000 Ghana cedis was deposited into an eSwitch account number 1177042059, which is registered in the name of suspect Ose Asibe. Investigations show that he personally received these funds. During a search at his residence, the aforementioned eSwitch card was found, and we intend to tender it in evidence during the course of the trial. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations further revealed that another suspect, Haruna Maulaya of Alfaida Ventures, a vendor in the marketplace, received a total of 21,306,272 Ghana cedis and 43 pesos into his account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Rose Hamilton of Marine Ventures received a total of 50,750,923 Ghana cedis, 15 pesos into her account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Isaac Asamani of Option Buy Ventures received a total of 11,458,000 686 Ghana cedis 90 pesos into his account from 2027 to 2024. A total payment of 167,554,398 cedis and 50 pesos was made into the account of a savings and loan company, a savings and loan entity between 2019 and 2024. Suspect Sylvia Salesona, the names of the companies are very interesting. Salesona Ventures received a total payment of 10,746,634 Ghana cedis and 41 pesos into her account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Jacob Yosin of Nyasampo Ventures received a total payment of 19,199,638 Ghana cedis and 57 pesos into his account from 2021 to 20. Suspects Philomena Atta and Stephen Kobina of Brainwave Ventures received a total of 17,646,523 Ghana cedis and 80 pesos into their accounts from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Solomon Jomina of 19 cedis and 67 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Charles Aheming of GH Ohetek Ventures received a total payment of 14,235,118 Ghana cedis and 14 pesos into his account from 2022 to 2024. Suspect Kweku Opare Agofa and Prince Agofa Awoku of Fralisa Ventures received and 35 Ghana cedis into their accounts from 2023 to 2024. However, none of the aforementioned vendors provided evidence to the investigative team or to myself to prove that the amounts of money they received corresponded to the items supplied or the loans supposedly made to the National Service personnel. Ladies and gentlemen of the media and my fellow countrymen and women, having concluded our investigations, we'll be filing charges against 12 suspects who work as directors and staff of the NSA. I've already listed them, but for the abundance of doubt, let me mention them again. These are Mustafa Yusuf Mensah, former Deputy Executive Director, Kweku Ohinijan, former Deputy Executive Director for Operations, Abraham Bismarck Gezi, former Internal Auditor, Kweku Dechi Eje, an Accounts Officer, Idrusu Ibn Abubakar, former Head of Accounts, Stephen Kobina Jenfi, we have asked that he should be rearrested because we've discovered some new accounts that contain some deposits, and so he was picked up this morning. So he is currently he's undergoing further interrogation. Koforidua, he's a Koforidua director. Then Prince Agofa Ewuku, a district director, and Jacob Yosin, management information systems administrator in the northern region. We will also file charges against the following persons who are vendors on the marketplace on the central management system of the NSA in the eastern, Greater Accra, and Ashanti regions. Isaac Osei Asamani, the owner of Stalwart Option Buy Ventures. Charles Ohomeni, the owner of GH Oheg Ventures. Philomena Atta, the owner of Brainwave Ventures. Rose Hamilton, the owner of Marine Ventures. Kweku Opare Agofa, the owner of Franlisa Ventures. Solomon Jamina, the owner of Afarita Ventures. Hado Laya, the owner of Alfaida Enterprise. Sylvia Ntriwa Opare, the owner of Selsona Ventures. And then Peter Mensah, a legal practitioner and the husband of Gifty Oware Mensah. We have made the decision to enter in persons who were involved in this criminal enterprise, especially the vendors, and these have agreed to provide compelling testimonies as witnesses for the prosecution. In this regard, we have agreed not to disclose their names or their details at this press briefing as part of the NPA, that is the non-prosecution, agreement, because this is going to inure to the efficiency of the prosecution that will be mounted, and to take decisions that will inure to the benefit of the Republic. And we have decided in the office, together with the investigators, that some of the marketplace vendors and some other directors and staff who came to us may be serving as prosecution witnesses. Some of them offered to be prosecution witnesses, and we rejected their offers. They came, met with my deputy, we even had evidence and thought that it would be inimical to the entire prosecutorial enterprise if we accepted their offers to serve as prosecution witnesses. So, given the numbers that we're offering to serve as witnesses, it can tell you where we are headed with this investigation. And when the trial starts, with this prosecution, when the trial starts, to know the evidence that we have meticulously gathered from February when I took over the